that he knew that, because, I mean, what he was saying, and he repeated it several times, oh, all of the missiles from Iran were eliminated, were shot down. They were ineffective. They were defeated. It's not, and it's the opposite. They didn't shoot down any of them, nor did the American vessels who were in the offshore. They fired 12 missiles. They took down none of the Iranians. I can't tell you exactly how many got through, but we're talking something of the order of 90%, something substantial, if you like. Some of them were decoy missiles, not intended to cause damage or to destroy things, but to deflect any air defenses that Israel. It was, in short, a major failure of Western air defense systems, not just Israelis, but Western air defense systems, which is why suddenly we have the United States prepared to send an air defense system, a THAAD system, with 100 American troops to Israel. And this is a major success, of course, because what I've been saying all along with is Netanyahu's aim is to pull the United States into the war. Well, they're very vulnerable. And if Israel attacks Iran, Iran will have every reason to attack that air defense system wherever it's located, probably in Netstream in the Negev desert, I should think.
Alastair Crooke's detailed account uncovers a monumental failure in Western air defense systems, something the media isn't giving enough attention to. Crooke is clear. The missiles that were supposedly intercepted were, in fact, not intercepted at all. And that's not just a minor miscalculation. This represents a significant military and strategic failure that has wide-reaching implications. This failure isn't isolated to Israel alone. According to Crooke, it's part of a much larger issue that reflects the vulnerability of the entire Western defense network. For years, we've been led to believe that systems like Iron Dome, Patriot missiles, and others in the U.S. arsenal provide unmatched protection. But if Iran can punch through, what does that mean for the future of regional security? The Iranian strategy wasn't just about launching missiles to cause destruction. It was far more complex. Some of these missiles, as Crooke points out, were decoys. They weren't meant to hit any targets, but were designed to overwhelm Israeli and American defenses. This tactic reveals a level of strategic sophistication that the West wasn't prepared for. When you consider that most of these missiles got through, you have to ask yourself, what does that say about the current state of Western air defense? The U.S. and Israel both rely heavily on these technologies to safeguard their interests. But if they can't stop missiles from Iran, what happens when a larger-scale attack takes place? Iran has demonstrated that it can not only strike at will, but also outmaneuver the world's most advanced military defenses. This sets a dangerous precedent for future conflicts in the region. In response to this massive failure, the U.S. has deployed a THAAD missile defense system along with 100 troops to Israel. The THAAD system is one of the most advanced air defense systems in the world. It's designed to intercept short, medium, and intermediate-range ballistic missiles at high altitudes. But why send it now? What does this move signal? Alastair Crooke suggests that Netanyahu's goal all along has been to pull the U.S. into the conflict. The deployment of THAAD is a major step in that direction. The moment the U.S. deploys troops and military assets, it becomes more involved, and the stakes rise dramatically. This is a calculated risk on Netanyahu's part. By involving the U.S. more directly, he's hoping to deter Iran from escalating the situation further. But it also opens the door for direct attacks on U.S. military assets in the region. As Crooke notes, if Israel attacks Iran, Iran will likely target the THAAD system. That's not just speculation. It's a reality that the U.S. must now prepare for. But this isn't just about Israel or even Iran. What we're seeing is a broader failure of Western air defense systems. These systems have been touted as the gold standard in missile defense for years. Billions of dollars have been poured into developing them, and yet here we are, facing the reality that they couldn't stop a relatively limited missile strike. This raises serious questions for U.S. policymakers. If these systems can't protect a critical ally like Israel, how can they be relied upon to defend U.S. interests in other parts of the world? This is a wake-up call for the Pentagon and the entire Western defense establishment. The vulnerabilities exposed by this failure are too significant to ignore. And it's not just about missile defense. The broader implication here is that Western military dominance is being challenged. Iran's ability to bypass these defenses shows that the balance of power in the Middle East is shifting. This isn't just a military failure, it's a geopolitical one as well. For Iran, this is a major victory. Not only did they manage to successfully strike Israeli targets, but they also exposed significant weaknesses in Western military capabilities. This sends a clear message to the rest of the region. Iran is not to be underestimated. This also has major implications for Israel's security strategy. Netanyahu has long relied on the support of the U.S. and its military assets to maintain Israel's security. But if those assets are no longer effective, Israel may find itself in a much more precarious position. This success will undoubtedly embolden Iran and its allies, including Hezbollah. It will also likely shift the regional power dynamics in ways that could have long-lasting consequences. Countries that were previously wary of confronting Israel may now see an opportunity to exploit its vulnerabilities. This incident also has major implications for U.S. policy in the region. For years, the U.S. has been the primary military and financial supporter of Israel. But this failure raises serious questions about the effectiveness of U.S. military aid and the strategies it has employed to secure its interests in the Middle East. The deployment of the THAAD system is a stopgap measure, but it doesn't address the underlying issues. The U.S. is now more deeply involved in the conflict, and it's unclear how it can extricate itself without further escalating tensions. There's also the question of public opinion. As more failures like this come to light, there's likely to be increasing pressure on the U.S. government to reconsider its support for Israel. The American public may begin to question why billions of dollars are being spent on military systems that don't work, especially in the face of domestic issues that require urgent attention. So, where do we go from here? Israel's security strategy is in question, and the U.S. is now more entangled in the conflict than ever. Iran has demonstrated its ability to strike at the heart of Israel's defenses, and there's little reason to believe that they will stop here. Netanyahu's gamble to pull the U.S. into the conflict may pay off in the short term, but it could lead to a much larger and more destructive war in the future. And if that happens, the U.S. will find itself in a conflict that it may not be able to control. The world is watching closely to see how the U.S. and Israel respond to this failure. Will they double down on their military strategies, or will they be forced to rethink their approach in the face of a more capable and determined adversary? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear. The failure of these air defense systems has changed the game. The question now is how the West will adapt to this new reality. Thank you for watching. Stay informed, and don't forget to question the narrative. According to Alastair Crooke, what he was saying, and he repeated it several times, was that all of the missiles from Iran were eliminated, shot down, ineffective, defeated. But that's not the case. It's actually the opposite. None of the missiles were shot down, neither by the Israelis nor by the American vessels offshore. Iran fired 12 missiles, and none of them were intercepted. While I can't say exactly how many got through, it was around 90%, a substantial number. Some of the missiles were decoys, not meant to cause damage, but to deflect and disrupt any defenses. In short, it was a major failure of Western air defense systems, not just Israel's, but Western systems as a whole. That's why the United States is suddenly prepared to send a THAAD air defense system, along with 100 American troops, to Israel. This, of course, represents a major success for Iran because, as I've been saying all along, Netanyahu's goal has been to pull the United States into the war. Now, the U.S. finds itself vulnerable, and if Israel attacks Iran, Iran will have every reason to target that air defense system, likely positioned in the Negev Desert, I would think. Thanks for watching.